Okay, welcome back to ReZero Anime Review, episode number 18. This will be the 32nd episode of the anime, Friend, covering chapters 11, from book 11, chapters 2 through 4. Yeah, finishing up chapter 2 and go through all the way to chapter 4, which means that my theory is that this particular book, the finished adaptation, will finish it either by the next episode, 33, or 34. This episode pick up exactly where last week's episode left off, where Subaru ends up in Beatrice's library, all bloodied up. And of course, she asks the obvious question: why did you save me? Why not, like, Ram, Frederica, or even Petra? And her answer is because the gospel told me. Basically the this gospel, which calls the gospel, told us. And one thing I just noticed though is that the book looks a little bigger than it did last time I appeared. Which, okay, that's interesting. And of course, Subaru was thinking suicidal thoughts, so he keeps thinking like, "Why did you save me? Why did you save me?" And then he just takes out a piece of glass after basically breaking the table for Beatrice's tea and tries to stab himself in the neck with it. Beatrice stops him, and of course he tries to touch her. Of course he tosses away, and then something really weird happens. Eliza comes into the frickin' library and then kills Subaru right in front of Beatrice. What happens to Beatrice after this? Who the heck knows, because we restart back to the sanctuary again. Where we're at the point where we had off a few episodes back, where Raptor Subaru completed the first trial. He's like, "Oh, I'm back here again." And of course he gets information when he was at the mansion, and he really wants to. Roswell himself does not physically appear in this episode. He's mentioned several times. So, it's like, then after getting it, of course Subaru does something a little different with Emilia this time. Looks like he gave us her a piggyback ride right out of the graveyard. And then, of course, they have the conversation again. This time is not a montage this time. It's of actually talking. Where it looked like Garfield's actually embarrassed. And then, basically, like, after Emilia talks to Subaru, Ram basically watches over her. And then, of course, goes to Garfield to talk to Renima. And, he asks he tells Garfield he does know that he's Frederica's brother. And we kind of reveal exactly about Frederica. She's not in the episode, by the way. You see a brief flash for the beginning, but it does not physically appear in the episode. Where it reveals the reason why she's able to leave the barrier. Because she's actually quarter beast, not entirely beast. They explain her mother was human and her father was mixed breed. And because of the fact she was quarter breed, she was able to easily leave the barrier, no problem. Like, okay. And Subaru has a request. He'll take Emilia's place. And then Garfield gets physical with him, knocks him out, and then ties him up, takes him to a unknown area of the sanctuary, and basically kind of briefly ties is like, of course, screaming, because like, don't scream, no one will find you here. And he says that he sniffs and he's like, you have the scent of a witch cultist. He's like, you scent a witch's scent? He's like, oh, that's what you call it. And he proceeds to leave him there, and of course everybody's searching for him. Yes. And then of course Garfield basically questions Otto, who brings the whole thing. Otto also talked to Subaru briefly, where Subaru appears calm despite the fact that Emilia basically nearly died. This period again where Garfield tempts him. Apparently Garfield's taken interest in him for some reason. Don't know why. So, then later on, after turning down a gem, he proceeds to free Subaru. And he asks, like, why did you save me? He's like, he's grateful for saving him, but why did you save him? And he says, because you're his friend. Because he says, you are my friend. And he doesn't know how long he's been in that room. He's been in the room for 3 days. He did get brief, a little bit of medicine. It looks like, I don't know who this person was. It could have been Renma, no, the Renuma, the female elf who imprisoned him. It could have been her. They don't specifically say who it is. Basically, you see some bare feet, and you see like a spoon look like a little bit of medicine, probably to keep him hydrated or whatever. And of course, Subaru's given some water, and then he's let out by Otto, and he has a lookout. His lookout is actually Ram, despite the fact Garfia's got a thing for her. It's implied. It's also a joke that that the thing is, Subaru was telling Garfield like all the crazy things that Ram is into, like the fact she like clown makeup. I thought that was so hilarious. It's like, okay, time to get out of the barrier, and then Garfield goes back to Subaru's cell, where he sees it empty. And then we see him transform. We're going to see his transformation to his beast mode, which his beast form. That's going to be interesting to see next week's episode. And that's pretty much all that happened this episode. Yeah, it was quite shocking to see Eliza, a known assassin, end up in Beatrice's library and killing Subaru. Make it like the first time of the series that Subaru's actually died in the library. Usually he's died away from the library or some other place in the mansion, but never in Beatrice's library. That's actually ballsy for the anime to include that scene from the book. Because Beatrice's library is supposed to be like a place of peace, a neutral ground, and yet Eliza was able to find out this place so easily. She probably heard of Beatrice, but how the heck she found out where her library is questionable at best. I mean, you probably think, okay, maybe she followed Subaru via the same door. It's possible. Thing is, her library pops up completely random across the entire freaking mansion. Though at least next week we're probably going to go back to the mansion. That's going to be interesting to say the least. Oh, yes. And we may get a chance to see a fight scene. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for what happened in the episode. It's a great episode. Definitely looking forward to next week, which will be episode number 33 for the series. And it'll be the 8th episode overall for the season. Now, overall, there's presumably, because they've already announced this, could be split in half, that we're probably going to get about, I'd say 5 or 6 more episodes left before they take their 2-month break before they resume in January to finish the season. Though I do have this personal theory of mine that, well, at least a suspicion that the season at this point will probably go straight to book 12, which is kind of where I was up to prior to the start of the season, where I read up 2. But I've since read book 13, and I'm definitely looking forward to next book coming out, which I think comes out in November, the English release version. That's what basically I'm reading, the English release version. I'm hoping the anime itself does not get to a point where it's adapting from a book that I have not read yet. I'm hoping that it doesn't do that. That would be kind of dumb if it does. But it just depends. Right now I'm on book 11, which is a book I've already read. I read the book like a couple months ago. So hopefully we get a chance to see more of this. Now, in the case of ReZero, a lot of people assume that this particular season will cover the longest arc of the series, which covers about 6 books, starts book 10, and wraps book 15. 1450 has not been released yet, so basically here, the arc itself is almost being finished and translated in English. But right now, we're still waiting for us the books. I believe next book, I looked up online, I believe next book is coming out in November. Yes, book 14. Unknown book 15 is going to come out. I have no idea. I'll probably look up later, okay? So yeah, that's particularly it for this particular review. And that's it. Probably it for videos sake, because I probably don't have time to do anything else tonight. Yeah, so tomorrow, I probably have at least one video to do tomorrow. Probably One Piece to talk about the first part of my Sabaody Apico arc. Talk about that particular arc. And maybe if I get time, I'll do part 2. If not, well, I'll just save for Friday. Yep. But yeah, so until this next video. Bye.